make a start. What we didn't have time to do yesterday is get any kind of presentations from your project. So what we would like is two of the groups from yesterday to come and present very shortly, and then we will move on to the regional action plans. So I don't know who wants to volunteer to start.
Come on, am I really going to do this alone? How can you be like, how can you do a project if you're alone? I know what to do. Come on, everyone. So, thank you. Someone that actually supports me. Okay, so, thank you. Finally, good, good. So good morning once again. We selected other as a topic, and we around the discussion we thought we would have peer-to-peer support as a main topic, where our target group would be young people, young patients with diabetes type 1. Our first problem was vanished communication after events. So we would have summer camps, and everyone would love it. All the patients would love it, but afterwards they would just vanish and be gone. So that was our problem, and our aim and our objective was to develop and sustain a strong bond and a sense of community among those people after those events. So the sense of communication to remain. So why was this so important? Why was this our main topic? Because we wanted to start creating a foundation, a very young and a very small group of not necessarily young leaders in our association, but people that would be comfortable together, and that would allow us to create other bigger projects in the future. If you guys want to chime in, by the way. And we also wanted to provide psychological support for everyone, because we thought that a lot of young people, and we probably went through this at some stage, are still going through denial. So even if we have all the tools to take care of ourselves, we just deny them because we don't have the support needed and we feel alone. So just some ideas that we started brainstorming could be weekly events or monthly events. It really depends on how big your association is and on how, if they're on board with the project. But some ideas we had would be cooking sessions, gaming group, kind of like a football group, but for gaming. Regular topic discussion on social media, sports groups, diabetic veterans, helping newly diagnosed with their problems. Finding out the reason for that vanishing, so going to the root of the problem. Partner with hospitals and associations so that they could refer the patients, the young patients, to us, and offer the opportunity for members to develop projects kind of like how this project is happening right now, so that they have a sense of actually belonging to a community and actually being in control. So, next slide, kind of. So this was all on the first day. The next day, we discussed the whole SMART idea and what we hope to achieve. We want to be able to measure percentage of participants who are active in that community. We want a steady progress. So we don't want the community to grow from 0 to 100 over day, but we want to feel like we are doing very small steps and not necessarily going down in active members. And also, yeah, so it kind of goes into the topic of the SMART, the simple, measurable, and I can't remember the other ones. So we want to set a target audience. We want to measure things with surveys for participants, setting specific and realistic topics, numbers for each session, sorry. We want to start small and grow from there. So we want to be, we want things to be simple. We want things to be not easy, but something achievable. We want also to listen to participants' input. So we don't necessarily want the activities to be around us, but more around the patients and the participants. And finally, in a timely manner, we want to set a target for the amount of growth that we achieve. And between the whole topic of how do you measure your achievements, the whole quality over quantity, we thought it was a good idea to mix both and not necessarily just pay attention to just one, because it would be good to have a lot of numbers, so a lot of quantity, but we should also be paying very close attention to the quality, to how happy our participants are and how they feel, if they actually feel that sense of community. So that's all.
So basically with Philippines, what I hope, this will be my first project, what I hope is to create an interactive learning program that will be done on a one-day basis in different cities. So the reason for this is because I personally don't know all the type 1. We have selected type 1, like 50, who attend camps. But then in different cities, the reason why they don't attend camps is because of costs, transportation to go to camps, the distance. So basically, the purpose of this interactive learning program is to create a census to educate about diabetes, to create a support system within the city of their own. Once they know each other, then they could create their own support system. Then to spread awareness about diabetes and to uplift themselves. So how I would get the details of the participants is through healthcare providers. So I will ask the physicians to provide me, I will collaborate with them to provide me their patients, because sometimes some physicians will feel threatened to expose their patients. So, okay, I will do your work of educating your patients with the latest information I receive from YLD and other journals. And from there, I would collaborate with volunteers who are dietitians and the physician, if he has the time, to do the day program. It could be half day or whole day. It's just the draft for now. So how to measure is the pre and post survey questionnaires, the knowledge that they know. And this is a pilot program, so this is how we set the limits and learn how to go and improve for the next project. So that's the initial one. Thank you.
As we already mentioned several times, regional strategic and regional action plans are crucial because IDF needs your feedback. We had a short meeting this morning, and we emphasized the importance of your feedback. What is important for your region? Somebody from USA cannot know what is going on in Sri Lanka, Malaysia, Hungary, or some other countries, or vice versa. So that's the reason why it's important to have your feedback. And these are the objectives of the workshop, but Sabine will give you the objectives of this workshop. And also we will have 2 examples from 2 regions, how to create regional action plan.
Yes. So I'm not going to spend any time on this because we will see at the end, but essentially what we're trying to do is to give you an understanding of what a regional action plan is, how it differs, and then how you would go about creating one that unites the various projects and see the various components that are part of this. So Irene and Franco will talk about that, and when at the end we'll go again through the various steps that have to be taken when creating a regional action plan, and we can have a brainstorm.
So, hi everyone, I'm Irene from Taiwan, and I'm currently the Western Pacific Regional Representative. And today I'm going to share with you our regional action plan last year in our region. And I'm going to also cover some of the basic things about developing a project. So first, why is it important to have a regional action plan? To me, I think it's a very good way to conceptualize the definition of a region. And when you are doing your own project in your own country, to me, I think it's sometimes because there are too many things to related to diabetes. There are too many problems with diabetes, and so you might be confused and get lost in what is the most important one. And by discussing with other young leaders from your region, which might bear some social or cultural resemblance, you might be able to identify the most important one. And secondly, it's a very good way to create a sense of unity within your region. And also, you can expand your influence and the media outreach with this action plan. And by executing this regional action plan, the old or experienced young leaders could help the new young leaders learn how to do their own project in the future and shorten up the learning curve for them. And so now I'm going to tell you my personal experience on how to create a project. And so you might have heard of this in the past week, but this is my own experience. So first you have to define your target group and then find what is the theme for your event, your project. And last but not least, find the funding and resources to make it true. And I always remind me of the classic 4W and 1H, which stands for who, where, what, and how, and when. And so this is what you can help you to go through this whole process. And so first of all, who. So who is your target group? And if you're doing a camp, you might be targeting kids, teenagers, young adults, or even adults. And if you're doing advocacy, you might be targeting patients or the general public of all ages, or even to governors. And if you're doing like fundraising, you can target at the general public, certain companies or NGOs. So that's who is your target group might depend on what you want to do. And how to reach your target group is like something like promotion. And I think it's very important to inform your MA about what you want to do, because your MA has a great influence in your community, and that might be very helpful to share the information to their subsidiaries and to the mass media. And there are generally two ways to promote your project. One is through social media, and another one is some physical material like the flyers and posters. And I think the social media is more effective in the younger generation in general, and it is more affordable, it is more accessible, and it could be interactive. But there are some cons as well, because there are always so many information on the internet, and you should have to be very eye-catching in order to stay in one's mind and to make them aware of your project. And if you're doing like some physical materials like posters and flyers, you can do it in a hospital and in a school or some public areas, and you could reach a wider generation, but the geographical distribution might be relatively limited. So there are pros and cons in either ways, and you can try to combine these two or try to make focus on one of them. And so regarding to when to have your project, if you are doing for teenagers or for kids, you can choose summer or winter vacation to have a camp like lasting like 3 to 5 days. I think a camp is good to have. It's good to have a camp between 3 to 5 days, because if you have less than 3 days, they might not be able to make connection with each other. And if you have it more than 5 days, it might be very stressed out for the organizers. And you can have it on weekends. And if you are doing for adults or young adults, I think weekends or in the evening of weekdays might be better for them, because they don't have to make compromises to their work. And for the general public, weekend is also a good option, and also you can have your event on festivals or holidays like the World Diabetes Day. And where to have your project, you can have it indoors and outdoors or on the social media or on the internet. And so if you are doing a workshop indoors, you have to bear in mind the capacity of the space, how many people you could contain, and the equipment, what you need, like the microphone, like the projector, the computer, things like that. And if you're doing it outdoors, you have to have a running plan, a backup plan, so if in case the weather is not suitable for outdoor activities, and always put safety to the first priority if you're doing outdoor activities. And if you are doing like webinar on the internet, you are doing online discussion, and you have to know the time zones of which your participants are in. Okay. So regarding to the theme, I think it's very important to first have your target group and then identify the needs for them. So for kids, they might need to know how to manage their diabetes. For teenagers, they might need support on emotions for their study. And for young adults, they might need some help in their relationship, their marriage, pregnancy, or something like that. And for the general public, they might need the awareness on diabetes prevention or diagnosis or something like that. And for the governance, if you are doing policy advocacy, like what the workshop we had yesterday, you might need the disease burden and the cost effectiveness of diabetes, so as to persuade them that doing more to diabetes is beneficial for the society and for the whole community. And regarding to funding and resources, I've separated to your individual project and action plan that is based on region-based. So if you are doing your own project, you can find support from your MA, from your government, or some private sectors like companies, pharmaceutical companies or other companies, and local NGOs, and also for public funding. And in my experience, when I was organizing the regional congress, my funding comes mostly from the government, because I think it might be very complicated regarding to the documents and project reports to apply funds from the government, but it's relatively easy because they have certain rules and policies that you can follow rather than just don't know what they might need or what they want. And for regional action plans, I know like Europe, they have Erasmus or something like that that could support the region. And you can also build partnership with some international NGOs, like we have our regional congress, we have our regional project collaborating with Insulin for Life in Australia. And you can also find fundings or resources from other international NGOs or do public funding online. But always remember that you have to let your potential sponsors know what these resources or money are needed, so like they could trust you. And now I'm going to tell you about our regional action plan in Western Pacific region. So we have a regional congress last year in Taipei, and we have discussed on what we want to do in the future in a year. And so I will separate the whole process into pre-congress, mid-congress, and post-congress. So before our regional congress, I collect data from our fellow young leaders about what they think is important in their region and what they think might be a way to deal with those problems. So this is the data I get from our young leaders. Like you can see, we have what does it mean for you as a young leaders? What do you want to do? What is the issues in your country regarding to diabetes? And I collect them and compile them into a file that we want to discuss during our Congress. And so during our Congress, we have discussion on what is the most important issue that we want to deal first. And then we discuss on what the actual action plan is to address these problems, and then we set a timeline for our project. So we use a design thinking that is a very good way to deduce and reduce your problems into a single focus. And we also make our practical. And after we identify the problem, we discuss on how to deal with them. And this is our project. So we have a year-long video campaign online, and we try to focus on different topics every month. And every month is taken by young leaders that they know very well about that issue. Okay, so for me, I think a good regional project should consider individual capacity, because not everyone have the ability, or is not very good at video editing or something like that. And our regional plan is regional best because we can do it online and it's more efficient. And I think it's a regional approach to community-based problems, because we cover different topics every month, and then every young leaders from different countries could contribute to it, because that's the topic that they are familiar with. And post-Congress, because we have set a timeline for each month and for which young leaders in charge of that month, I generally send a message to the young leaders in charge at the beginning of that day. And so they have some buffer time to do their video and to make sure that everything goes smoothly. So you have to, when you're doing a project, always remember that you have to have some buffering time to, in case of any emergency appears. But even if you are really cautious about the time, there might be some emergency other ways. So have a backup plan is also very important. And make adjustment according to changes. And I also try to add in, just make everyone notice of the latest event in the latest changes in your project, so that everyone knows what is going on, and they can feel a sense of participation and help you spread the information to their own community and create a greater impact. So, and it's also important to evaluate your result, because we are doing this online using Facebook and YouTube channel. So it is very easy for us to check our likes and our views. You can see that we have very stable likes every day throughout the week, and our viewers are more active in from 10 a.m. to 9 p.m. so that I know that I should upload my videos during that time so more people could see those videos. And we also have a Google Drive to share the documents and videos with every young leaders, and they can get the resources very easily because we have an account that everyone knows. And so because of the time limit, I couldn't play our video now. But you can like us on our Facebook and YouTube channel and see all the videos with this QR code. So yeah, thank you for your attention.
Hello again. We already met. I'm Franco. Just a couple of extra points that are being mentioned already. This is what we are going to see. And we are talking about our projects, the young leaders projects, but we need to have the distinction between two classes of projects. All we know, we have individuals projects that are mandatory to graduate, to be part of the group, but also we need a different kind of projects that are called the regional projects that involves more than one country and is not mandatory today, but we will see the reasons that why we need to focus on the regional projects. For example, my region is the South and Central America. We are 19 countries at the moment on IDF. And the past 2 years, we were 7 different countries with the presence of at least one young leaders. And my region has a lot of activities. You can see we have camps on several countries. We have incredible workshops, and we have we created several educative materials, but they are only small, individual, maybe national initiatives. We need another kind of project. We need another kind of view to solve the problems. That's the importance of the regional plans, the regional projects. We need to reach more people. We need to have a better impact on the region. Obviously, a personal initiative can change a lot of our regional situation, but it's better if we can have a more strength to fight against the same enemy. And all we know that when we work together, the results are much better. But how I can do my regional plan, how I can create my regional project? Well, we need to make first a diagnosis. We need to then prioritize. We can do we can solve all the stuff in 2 years, maybe neither in 4 years. We need to focus on maybe 1 or 2 themes. And it is also important to distribute the work. It is impossible and it's not the responsibility for the chair or the chair-elect of the region do all the work. We can have committees with different managers to distribute the work between all the region. And also it is important always have times. Have times with anticipation, have a grant time to be prepared and don't improvise. And obviously the final theme, but not the less important, we need to evaluate our result, but because it's the only way to improve our projects. And 2 main points, and this is very important. We need to be concrete and we need to be realistic. All we want change the world. All we want find a cure of diabetes. All we want eliminate the ignorance about diabetes. But we need to be concrete and be realistic because we are starting. We have a long way, but we need to start with little steps. I'm going to show now an example for the past 2 years regional plan. We met on Vancouver and extra nights, all the SACA regional, all the SACA young leaders at these times, and we ask about ourselves the main themes that we need to work. And we identify 4 themes. The first one was identify problems and needs of each member of the SACA region countries. The second was educate and disseminate in diabetes. The third one was advocate for access to basic inputs. And the fourth was build an image of the SACA region. And this was very important because we tried to change what has to be improved, and continue what is being done well at this time. Obviously, we didn't realize 4 things. That's the reason we only select the 2 first. And we nominate 2 different peoples to be in charge of 2 different commissions to work in one and another team. And we create a working group to work in the identification of the problems and the needs, and a second group to try to work on education and dissemination in diabetes. Unfortunately, not all the projects have good results. We tried to participate in the forum of the Sakar region, but we didn't have the chance. But we working a lot on the first one. Or you knew Paula Chinchilla. She was the project leader and engineer of a Latin American survey that we create. We send through the IDF regional office and the networks a survey to ask for several themes. You can see diabetes epidemiology, type 2 and gestational diabetes prevention and detection programs across the region, access to supplies, chronic complications, support networks, education, barriers to treatment, and discrimination. All the survey is only a perception of the patients. We try to reach a lot of people, but it's not a scientific paper, obviously. We have the main results. We are processing and analyzing the data today, but we have the first step done. This is only an example. If you want more information, Paula has all the details. After this work, we get an ideas and expectation, and based on the results that the survey showed, we want to expand the network across the region. We have the planification of 2 main important projects, the regional trainings like this one, and regional camps. In Latin America, almost the countries speak Spanish, and it's very easy for us have a regional trainings, but we don't have. And also the language is a very a strong barrier to have more representation in this program. And obviously we need to find an economic support. We expect that the regional office can be present, but not always possible. Just a little points. The main focus of this workshop is not the presentation, but we need to work in our regions now. If you have any doubts, please ask to Irene or to me. And if you don't have, you are very welcome to Santiago. This is my city. We have a nice mountains. Thank you.
So congratulations, Franco, for the SACA plan. My question is regarding for basically this plan, and do you have any kind of idea what can be a successful project for the future for the SACA region, which can be probably implemented for a global basis?
If I have an idea? I don't know, because our region, I think the 7 regions are very different, and we are just at the beginning of the regional plans. We have worked the past 2 years, but we only have at the moment the diagnosis. We need to start to working seriously now. In 2 more years, I can respond. Sorry. I didn't understand.
That's an idea that could be like for our region, that for us is the next step to the project based on the evaluation, and for the other ones is to start with the evaluation.
When you are trying to change something, you need to make a diagnose and evaluate at the end. We have developed the tool for make the diagnose. I don't know if the same tool is possible to applicate in all around the world, but maybe can be an example and you make an adaptation, and obviously the cost for the tool is cheap. We can have an accord. No, obviously we can share to all the interested. Thank you, Daniel.
Is there any other question, additional questions to Franco or to Irene? If not, thank you very much once again. I think that they both needs to be congratulated one more time with huge applause. And now we will have a workshop because they mentioned their experience from 2 regions. But now we will have a workshop regarding regional action plans. So we will create European group, also a group from SACA, NAC, and all other regions. If European group will be too big, in that case we can split to 2 groups, but I think they should coordinate somehow. And what is the discussion we would like to encourage? Gather with your regional colleagues to discuss regional action plan. What does it mean, regional action plans? You already learned from their presentations, and we said that several times. Why regional action plans are important? Different regions have different needs. And you are better, we are getting information from member association, but perspective of young people from that region is completely different than perspective sometimes with perspective from member association. On the other side, provide your input and expertise to the discussion. Approximately half an hour, 40 minutes to prepare a draft regional action plan, and after that one representative per region will have opportunity to present the plan. Also, what is important to do something in the region, for example, what is important according to socio-economical, political factors, identification of needs within the region, supported by facts and figures. Of course, what is this strength, weakness, opportunity and threats within your region regarding YLD program? How can IDF help you? We already had a meeting this morning and we got some discussion regarding and also some feedbacks from you. But also we need what would be the key strategic objectives to fulfill the needs of the region. For example, region focus needs to be supported by facts and figures. We do have some ideas and we got some answers and feedbacks from you, but we would have to have regional focused and also global projects and key strategies. So please, if you can form now your regions, like European, NAC, SACA region, and all representatives will be responsible to create your own group, and also all groups have to identify somebody who will present the final outcome of discussion.
Actually, you're not. No, it's not. It's not. Yeah, it's not. It's not basic knowledge.
Because all of the like doctors, you have to know how to calidad de vida, también doctorados.
Primero en Chile, porque yo sé, cuando es diabetes tipo 2, principalmente qué pasa, no se tiene información, o la información no es muy acertada, porque cuando hay un paciente que realmente acabó, que le apuntaron una cierta y se perdió rastro de los jóvenes pasa lo mismo, por ejemplo, how many like other 10 parliamentary yeah, but I think if there's yeah, there is one thing here. So it would be great to have another meeting like in March, let's say like half a year between, to have more people. So maybe can you do
all of these in a big situation affect all the countries. Let's put it in a form that you can which one?
Look at each country and set a goal, like one goal for each country. Like, okay, this country has enough test strips, but next one, right again, look again, like, okay, yeah. We already started from